You don't need heroic effort, big swings, big movements, massive stimulation, hyper emotion. You need adaptogens, steady cruise control, not a rocket going through the atmosphere. You don't need a loud voice. You need a quiet word, a long sermon, an inspiring message. Don't need to read a lot. You need to do a lot with a little that you read. All of these things gives you a pattern, and it is the pattern over time, consistently, steady, not overexerted, not underexerted, moderate, that will give you health, longevity, success, peace, not the noise of chaos or a roller coaster, not over exhilaration, but calm and steady meditation, careful thoughts, not quick to talk, but quick to listen, slow to speak, contemplative, intuitive, inquisitive, not curious. A steady ship rowing in a steady motion and rhythm. A walk, not a sprint for the finish line. When these things happen spiritually, your health over time will exceed all measure and all levels. You've got to get out of the spiritual rave mode. Stop looking for the revival and look for the necessary things on a daily, moment, hour by hour basis for survival and thoughtfulness and thankfulness. Never too much, never too less. The sweet spot. Steady as she goes, helmsman. Don't slow down, but don't race. Just keep yourself in forward momentum, doing the small things well. That is how we get there, spiritually. That is even, according to the physicians and nutritionists and medical specialists, that is how the body overcomes. According to the psychiatrists and the psychologists, that is how the psychosis is ended. In the habit and the pattern repeated over time gives the long-time effect, which is why so many are in the same pattern with worse effects, because they cannot or do not or will not steadily walk each day and each hour in the habits and patterns of health and spiritual wellness that keeps you sound, mind, body, and soul. You have too many swinging emotions. That is not based on what's happening around you. That's based on how you respond to what's happening around you. The world does not have to slow down for you. Crime doesn't have to stop to eliminate your stress. The weather doesn't have to be perfect. It's you. It's your response. Not the weather, not the emergency, which is why we call them first responders, because unlike you, they don't panic and lose their minds. You do. And they don't say, well, things will be better if we would just stop having emergencies. Oh, no. A 16-year-old boy rescued a young child in humongous waves. It went viral. And yet that same 16-year-old boy said, oh, that wasn't the only one. When I was done with him, I went back to my tower. I just kept doing what I do. That was not a heroic moment. That wasn't something to stop and do a dance about. I just went back. It's just what I do. In fact, we did hundreds more after that. Were any of those additional ones filmed? No. Police, firemen, and preachers and doctors. We go from one emergency to another while we watch many of you panic over the little emergencies you have, and it's just one. And we're fine. The doctor doesn't look depressed. They just saw 10 people before they saw you. The police officer doesn't look tired. He just left 20 emergencies. He's going to go to 20 more after you, as does the fireman. You have to learn that what the key is, what you can take from these people, from us who do ministry, is it's your response to things. It isn't the things. It's your response. Else the psychiatrist and the psychologist would never sit down and talk to you, because you're one of many that they hear all day long. But they've learned something that you have to learn, that Paul told Timothy. Live like a military man. Act like a psychologist, a fireman, a police officer, a preacher, a doctor. Learn how to respond to these things so you don't panic when you hear it. They always say information prevents panic. The more you know, the less frightening something is. And the more you act on what you know, all the fear is gone. Or the courage gives you the strength to do it regardless of the fear, because you have the information. You know what to do. No, it's up to you. You just have to do what you know to do. As they say, be prepared, not scared. But unless you execute those things, practice those things, and respond to those things, this is the reason why you see the same behavior in many of your lives over and over again. You refuse to execute those things, and you don't do it long enough and in a pattern long enough to make a difference. So it can never take root and the tree can never grow. You keep uprooting it and putting it in another patch of new soil. The tree will never grow. In fact, the tree will die from that. It can only last with so many transplants. You've got to leave it alone and let it grow. And miss the heat and the cold, the winter and the wind. And its reaction, that way it learns what to do when the wind blows and when the heat beats down and when the rain falls and when the freeze and snow come. Because it's not about the wind and the rain, the snow and the ice, the heat and the insects and bugs. It's about the tree. Planted by the river of water of life, I shall not be moved.